My estranged father died suddenly. We hadn't spoken in 12 years, not since he kicked me out over my useless career as a musician. I showed up at the funeral just to say goodbye. My wife, Julia, didn't want to come. She never liked him. But then the lawyer pulled me aside. Turns out, my father left everything to me. A $14 million estate, properties, vintage cars, a trust, even the family business, something I thought he'd give to my cousin or his business partner. I was stunned. I didn't even know he forgave me. I went home that night overwhelmed but hopeful. Maybe this money would finally fix things with Julia. We'd been arguing for months, mostly about money, IVF costs, and the fact that my music career hadn't taken off. But when I told her about the inheritance, she didn't cry or hug me. She just said, "That's convenient." I brushed it off. Stress, maybe. But later that night, I found her phone on the bathroom counter. A message preview from a contact saved only as J. He has no idea. I'll stall him a little longer. Almost done. Cliffhanger. I opened the full conversation and saw her entire plan. She was planning to leave me, and I wasn't the only one she was lying to. I stared at the messages, my hands shaking, my heart thudding so hard I could barely breathe. There were weeks, months of texts. Julia wasn't just planning to leave me. She was making financial moves behind my back. Quiet withdrawals from our shared account. Conversations about papers and timing, and me never seeing it coming. And the worst part? She wasn't talking to a stranger. She was talking to Jordan, my best friend since college. My best man. The guy who helped me set up my first studio. The one person I thought I could count on through anything. The same guy who pulled away when Julia and I started dating. I always thought it was awkwardness. Now I knew it was jealousy. Or worse, history. I copied every screenshot I could. Sent them to myself. Put her phone back before she noticed. That night, I didn't sleep. The next morning, I kissed her like nothing was wrong. Took a call with the estate lawyer. And then I called my cousin, Dylan, who still worked with my father's legal team. "Dylan, I need your help," I said. "Off the record, I think Julie is trying to screw me over." He paused, then said something that sent chills down my spine. "You might be right. I got an email from someone pretending to be you, requesting access to your trust, last week." Cliffhanger. I rushed to the bank with my ID and found out the account had been emptied. $1.2 million. Gone. And the signature on the transfer form? Julia's. The bank manager gave me a tight-lipped apology as I stared at the withdrawal confirmation. $1.2 million, drained from the trust into an offshore account. Executed in my name. Signed in handwriting that looked eerily close to mine, but not quite. My stomach flipped. I asked for the video footage from the day the transaction was made. The manager hesitated. "You're not going to like this," he warned. When the footage loaded, my heart stopped. It was Julia, wearing a black wig, glasses, a forged ID in her hand. Calm, practiced, smiling. She walked out with a cashier's check like it was just another errand. This wasn't impulse. This was orchestrated, and I'd been too blind to see it. I called her. No answer. Texted her. Nothing. When I got home, she was in the kitchen making coffee like she didn't just rob me. I confronted her, calmly. Too calmly. "I know about the account," I said. "I saw the footage." Her eyes didn't even twitch. And then she said 5 words I'll never forget. "You're not who you think." What the hell does that mean? She walked past me, grabbed her keys, and tossed a small envelope onto the counter. Inside, a marriage license, dated 2 years before we met. Her name? Julia. Her husband's name? Jordan. She never divorced him. Cliffhanger. I grabbed her arm. "You're married to him?" She smirked. "No, babe. I'm married to both of you." And then she walked out the door, just as the cops pulled into the driveway. The cops stepped out of the car just as Julia disappeared down the block. I ran out to flag them down, heart racing. "Are you here for her?" I asked. One of the officers exchanged a quick glance with the other. "We're actually here for you, Mr. Hart." My blood turned cold. What? What? They didn't answer at first, just asked me to come inside. I sat on the couch where Julia and I used to watch movies, now covered in the ashes of a lie. Finally, the lead officer spoke. "We received an anonymous tip that you were connected to a missing persons case. A woman named Emily Rhodes. Do you know her?" I blinked. "No, never heard that name in my life." He slid a photo across the table, and my heart damn near stopped. Because the woman in the photo was Julia. Same eyes, same scar on her wrist, but blonde, younger. with a different name. A whole different identity. What the hell is this? She disappeared 8 years ago, left behind a fiancé, a job, a mortgage. We've been trying to track her ever since. No trace until now. I was speechless. She reinvented herself, the officer continued. Changed her name, her entire background. She became Julia Collins. And somehow, she found you. I felt like I was in a dream or a nightmare. The officer leaned forward. Here's what's worse, Jordan. Her ex. I nodded. He filed a missing persons report on her 5 years ago. Said she ran off with half his assets. Then he vanished 2 years later. I felt dizzy. Julia hadn't just betrayed me. She'd done this before. Any idea where she might be now? They asked. I opened my mouth to say no. But then I remembered something. The offshore account Julia used? The bank records showed a location. Nassau, Bahamas. Cliffhanger. I told the cops everything I knew. They started typing up a report. And then my phone buzzed. A wire transfer alert. $50,000 had just been pulled from a joint account I didn't know existed. In my name. From Nassau. I didn't sleep that night. While the cops filed reports and dug through Julia's past, I stayed awake chasing digital trails, bank records, email accounts, anything that could tell me who the hell I had been living with for the past 5 years. But the $50,000 transfer wasn't just money laundering. It was a message. The transaction memo read, "Enjoy your inheritance. Yar." Emily Rhodes, Julia's real name. And somehow, she still had access to my father's estate. Despite every lock and password I thought was secure. The next morning, I called Dylan again, my cousin and the one person in the family I still trusted. He picked up immediately. "You were right," he said. "I checked the estate logs again. There's a clause in your father's trust." I braced myself. In the event of your death or legal incapacitation, your next of kin inherits everything. What the hell does that mean? "You have a half-sister," he said. I froze. "No, I don't." "Yes, you do. She was born before your parents got married. Your father listed her in the original trust and updated it 6 months ago." He emailed me the scan page. Name, Emily Rhodes. Born, 1987. My ears rang. My mouth went dry. Julia. Emily wasn't just some con artist. She was my half-sister. I wanted to vomit. My skin crawled. Every memory, every kiss, every fight, every I love you, turned to ash. I called my mother's old caregiver. She'd passed away 3 years ago from breast cancer. But her nurse, a sweet older woman named Kathy, still answered. "I remember your mom mentioning a girl," she said softly. "Said your father had a daughter he didn't raise. She always felt guilty for keeping it from you." "So she knew Julia? Emily?" "I don't think she ever met her. But your mom kept a box in her closet. She called it the other life. Said it wasn't her story to tell. I found the key to that closet in an old jewelry box. And inside, the box, photos, letters, DNA test results. A confession written by my mother. Your father had a daughter before you. He never raised her, but he set up a trust. I kept it from you to protect you. If she ever found you, be careful. She has his blood and his darkness." Cliffhanger. At the very bottom of the box was a folder labeled Emily. Inside, an old restraining order, filed against her, by Jordan, dated just weeks before he vanished. The restraining order was old, water-stained, but legible. Filed by Jordan Gray. Reason: harassment, fraud, threats, emotional abuse. Date: 3 weeks before he vanished. My hands were shaking. It wasn't just that Emily, Julia, was a liar, or a thief, or a con. She was dangerous, predatory, and I married her. I knew then I needed to find Jordan, or at least find out what happened to him. I started calling around former coworkers, his sister in Portland, even the bandmates from the group we played in back in college. No one had seen him in years. One guy said something I couldn't shake. "Last I heard, he was headed to your family's orchard to get closure." That orchard. It was on my father's land, for 100 acres of forest and apple trees on the far end of the estate. It had been abandoned for over a decade. I hadn't stepped foot there since I was 19. I drove out the next morning. Fog sat thick over the treetops. The orchard gate was rusted, hanging off its hinges. The kind of place where secrets don't just hide, they rot. I searched for hours, following nothing but memory and intuition. And then I saw it. A small patch of ground, uneven, disturbed. The dirt was newer than the rest. A marker stone, unmarked, stood upright like it didn't belong. I started digging. Shovel, hands, whatever I could find. The deeper I went, the more I knew. And then, bone. I stopped. Breath caught in my throat. I called the cops. Forensics came in, excavated the grave. Days passed. Tests ran. DNA confirmed it. It was Jordan, buried in a shallow grave on my family's land. His skull cracked. Wrist fractured. Cause of death, blunt force trauma. Estimated time of death? 5 years ago. Right around the time Julia, Emily, showed up in my life. She hadn't just stolen from him. She'd silenced him. The cops now had enough to issue an international warrant for Emily Rhodes. But they were already too late. Because I got a text that night. Blocked number. One image. A photo of a passport. Fake name. New identity. And a boarding pass. Departure. Nassau, Bahamas, Marrakesh, Morocco. Name on ticket. Elena Gray. Cliffhanger. Attached to the photo was a message. You found Jordan. I buried one secret. But there's still one more under your father's land. Dig deeper. D. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Emily's message haunted me. There's still one more under your father's land. Dig deeper. One body was already too much. But a second? Who else had she buried in my life? I went back to the orchard at dawn. This time, I brought 2 things. A metal detector Dylan lent me. My father's old journal, the one I never cared about until now. It was filled with his cryptic musings, estate maintenance notes, random rants about money and control. But one entry caught my eye. November 8th. Buried the chest in the family grove. She'll never find it. No one will. If she tries, she'll meet the same fate as the last one. The last one? Was he talking about Jordan? Who was she? Was Emily in his life long before she ever came for me? I used the detector near the area behind the apple grove, where the trees were overgrown and choked by ivy. After a few hours, the detector screened. I dug again. 6 feet, then 8, until I hit metal. A large, rusted chest. Heavy. Locked. I pried it open with a crowbar. Inside, bundles of cash wrapped in plastic. A revolver. Polaroids dozens. And a small velvet bag. I opened the bag first. Inside, a ring. Gold. Delicate. Etched with initials. CG. That wasn't my father's. Wasn't my mother's. Wasn't anyone I knew. I pulled out the Polaroids. Some were family photos, but one made my blood turn to ice. A photo of a little girl. Blonde. Big eyes. Emily. Standing with a woman I didn't recognize. On the back of the photo, Celia and Emily, June 1994. That's when I remembered the name. Celia Green. She worked as a caretaker on the property years ago. Quiet. Kept to herself. Disappeared suddenly. My mom said she moved away, but now I knew better. Celia Green was Emily's mother, and I think my father killed her. The chest had birth certificates, old letters, handwritten notes from Celia to my father, pleading for him to acknowledge Emily, to do right by her. The last letter, dated weeks before Celia vanished. You promised to leave her something. If you won't, I'll go to your wife. She deserves to know. I stood there, sick to my stomach, holding the pieces of a family I never knew existed. Emily wasn't just a con artist. She was the daughter of a woman my father may have murdered. She didn't just want revenge. She wanted to take everything back. Cliffhanger. As I packed up the chest to bring to the police, I noticed something tucked in a false panel. A second will. Signed. Stamped. Leaving everything to Emily Rhodes. Dated 1 week before my father died. I sat in my car, gripping the second will like it was on fire. Everything. The estate, the businesses, the properties, all of it was willed to Emily Rhodes. Signed. Witnessed. Notarized. Dated 1 week before my father's mysterious stroke. I took it straight to Dylan. He paled as he read it. This changes everything. It can't be real, I said. But I already knew it was. My father had changed his will. Quietly. And no one knew. No one except Emily. That meant when he died and I was named heir, it wasn't just unexpected. It was wrong. I'd inherited her fortune. And she knew it. I handed the entire chest over to the police. The Polaroids, the gun, the letters from Celia Green. I gave them my mother's written confession, the DNA tests, everything. Within 24 hours, the cops reopened the case into my father's death. And just like that, the story changed. Toxicology results were reevaluated. Turns out, there were traces of digitalis in his system, a plant-based poison. Easy to miss, deadly in the right dose. And who had been visiting him daily during the last month of his life? Emily, under the fake identity of a private nurse hired through a third-party agency. The name? Elena Gray. The same alias on the Moroccan boarding pass. She killed him, forged a will, got cut out at the last second, and then set her sights on me. Not out of love or greed, out of vengeance. I called Dylan, panicked. If this will is real, and she's alive, she can fight for everything. She can take it all. He hesitated. No, he said. She already has. What? I just got a notice from the estate attorney. A claim's been filed. From a firm in Morocco. She's contesting the inheritance. Cliffhanger. Attached to the email was a scanned letter, signed by Emily. It ended with a chilling line. Your father gave it to you. Now I'm taking it back. See you in court, little brother. The media got wind of it fast. Heiress emerges to contest $14 million inheritance. Alleged half-sister claims fortune was stolen. Murder, money, and a missing woman. Inside the Rhodes Green estate scandal. I went from being a grieving son to the face of an inheritance war overnight. Paparazzi outside my house. Reporters calling my job. My name trending with words like fraud, killer, and incest. The first court hearing was surreal. Her lawyer showed up via video conference. Smooth, smug, foreign accented. Emily didn't appear, but she didn't need to. They had a mountain of evidence. The will, the birth certificate, my father's letters to Celia, the photos, even the damn DNA. All of it said she was the rightful heir. What did I have? The story, the trauma, my word. Until Dylan pulled me aside after the hearing. There's one more thing, he said. You remember that old phone line your dad used to record everything on? The one in the study. I nodded. He said it was for business protection. Yeah, well, turns out he recorded his final conversation with Emily. Right before he died, he handed me a thumb drive. I hesitated. Do I want to hear this? You need to. I played it that night. Alone. My father's voice. Slow, weak, but sharp. I know who you are now, and you're not getting the money. You think I don't remember your mother? What she threatened? I changed the will back. Emily's voice, cold, shaking with rage. You stole everything from us. I owed your mother nothing, and I owe you even less. You'll regret this. No, you will. Then a silence, and a sound like pills hitting a glass. He knew she was going to kill him. He left the tape behind on purpose. Just in case. I raced the recording to my lawyer. The next day, it was entered into evidence. It hit like a bomb in court. Emily's team tried to discredit it, said it was fake, altered, taken out of context. But the judge agreed to a full investigation. It should have felt like a win. But then the judge said something else. Due to the DNA evidence and secondary will, we're freezing all assets until the dispute is resolved. Which meant I was locked out of the estate. Accounts frozen. Properties sealed. Pending litigation. Everything I had. On pause. And then, as I walked out of the courthouse, my phone buzzed. A blocked number. Voicemail. Emily's voice. Cute trick with the recording. But you forgot something. You lied on your marriage license. And bigamy is a felony. Cliffhanger. The next morning, 2 officers showed up at my door. I was under arrest. Charged with fraudulent marriage, stemming from the forged papers Julia had signed in my name. And the woman who filed the report? Emily Rhodes. Jail is colder than it looks in movies. They took my phone, my belt, and whatever hope I had left. The charge? Marriage fraud. A technicality, sure, but one Emily exploited like a pro. She claimed I'd knowingly forged documents to trap her in marriage, tying her to the estate illegally. The irony? She'd forged it all herself. But the paper trail pointed to me. And without the estate funds, I couldn't post bail. I spent 48 hours in a holding cell. 2 fights broke out. One guy sobbed the entire night. I stared at the floor, trying not to think of Emily's face. Or Julia's. Or whatever name she was hiding behind now. Then the guard called my name. Lawyer's here. Relief. Dylan must have pulled strings. Except it wasn't Dylan. It was Carly. My ex. The one I dated right before Julia. The one who walked away when I chose wrong. She looked sharp. Composed. Conflicted. I'm your emergency counsel, she said. Dylan called me. He's not handling this well. What do you mean? She slid a manila folder across the table. Inside, a signed affidavit from Dylan. Screenshots of texts between him and Emily. Bank deposits. Thousands of dollars. timed perfectly with court filings. Dylan was working with her. Why? I choked. Why would he? Carly cut me off. Because Emily promised him a cut of the estate once the will was overturned. He thought you'd lose. Figured it was better to be on the winning team. I felt sick. Betrayed. Again. She used everyone. I muttered. Even him. Carly leaned in. Not everyone. She reached out to me, too. 2 months ago. I looked up, startled. She wanted to know everything about you. Your exes, your weaknesses, your triggers. But I never answered. I never forgot what she took from you. Tears threatened. I blinked them away. She's going to keep twisting this until no one's left, I said. And if she gets that estate, she'll vanish for good. She's not going to win, Carly said quietly. How can you be so sure? She pulled out her phone, tapped something. Audio recording, 3:28 minute. Titled, Celia's Story, 2005. She's not the only one who records things. I hit play, and I heard Emily's voice. Younger, angrier, yelling at her mother. You said he owed us. You said he'd pay. Why didn't you make him sign the will sooner? Emily, he's dangerous. He could hurt you. I don't care. I'll take it myself if I have to. You'll see. Cliffhanger. At the end of the recording, a new voice cut in. Low, gruff, familiar. My father. If you go near my son, I swear to God. The recording ends. Carly looked at me. She was planning this from the start. And your father tried to stop her. The recording changed everything. Between the confession from Emily, the voice of my father, and the mounting evidence that she'd manipulated Dylan and fabricated the marriage claim, Carly had what she needed to file an emergency motion. And 36 hours later, I was out, but not without a cost. I walked out of the courthouse to flashing cameras and a shattered reputation. My accounts were still frozen, my name smeared in headlines. My lawyer, now Carly, warned me. Emily's not running. She's waiting. This isn't about the estate anymore. It's personal. We drove straight to Dylan's office. He wasn't there, but his assistant handed Carly a letter she said Dylan left behind, in case everything went to hell. It read, I didn't think she'd actually win. I just wanted a way out of this family. Your father never gave me anything. You got it all. She said she could fix that. I didn't know she'd go this far. The last time I saw her, she said, if he wants to end this, he knows where to find me. And then she gave me this. Taped to the letter was a single key. Attached, a tag. Unit 9C, Greenlight Storage. A rental facility on the edge of town. One my father used years ago. Carly and I drove there immediately. The place looked abandoned. No cameras. Rusted units. But 9C wasn't locked. Inside was a steel desk, a chair, and a corkboard covered in old family documents. Photos, maps, highlighted trust paperwork. It looked like a war room. There were receipts from a passport agency in Mexico. A hotel booked under the name Celia Green. But one photo made me stop cold. It was me, from 2 years ago, standing outside a studio, laughing, carefree. And behind me, Emily, watching. She'd been following me long before we met. This whole thing, staged. Carly found a manila envelope in the desk drawer. Inside, a flash drive, a handwritten note, and a list of names. The note said, if I'm gone, and you're reading this, it means she finally played her endgame. But she didn't do it alone. These people helped her. Some are in Morocco. Some are right here. Expose them, and she falls with them. Signed, Jordan. It was his handwriting. He'd written this before he died. He knew she might kill him. We plugged the flash drive into Carly's laptop. It had audio files, bank transfers, and, most important, a video confession. Emily, sitting alone in a hotel room, staring into the camera. I never wanted this. But you pushed me. All of you. My mother died in silence while your father lived like a king. You think I did this for money? She leaned in. I did it so you'd know what it's like to lose everything. And then, another voice in the background. A child's voice. Cliffhanger. The child walks into frame. Dark hair. Big eyes. Emily looks up and says, say hi to your uncle. The child is mine. I watched the screen in stunned silence. The child looked about 5, maybe 6. Same eyes as mine. Same crooked smile from photos of me as a kid. Carly leaned in. Do you think? I don't know, I whispered. But I have to find out. We replayed the video again. Slowed it down. Caught the reflection of a boarding pass on the nightstand behind Emily. Flight code, CMN. Casablanca. She wasn't in Morocco anymore. She'd moved the game, again. I gave the flash drive and the child's image to the police. They widened the manhunt, escalated the charges. Now it was kidnapping. But the part that destroyed me? That note Jordan left in the storage unit. The list of names. One of them was my father's. Next to it, cover up, Celia's disappearance. Confidential settlement. 2001. I dug through my father's old legal archives. Hidden in a subfolder marked Property Disputes, I found a non-disclosure agreement. Celia Green. Signed. Dated. Witnessed. She wasn't killed. She was paid to leave. And she took the money. And left Emily behind. My father paid her to disappear. To protect his new family. To bury his bastard daughter. And Emily. She grew up without either parent. Now I finally saw the full picture. She didn't want revenge. She wanted recognition. The money, the lies, the estate, those were just vehicles. What she really wanted was something I took for granted my entire life. A name, a place, a father who chose her. I sat in the dark that night, staring at the ceiling, haunted by the image of a little boy calling me uncle. But I knew something else too. That kid wasn't mine. I checked the dates, did the math. 5 years ago? She was already pregnant when she met me, which meant the father could only be one person. Jordan. He never ran. He didn't vanish. She killed him and raised their child as bait. Cliffhanger. As I closed my laptop, an email popped up. No sender, no subject, just a line of text. If you want him back, come to Casablanca. No police. No Carly. Come alone. And below it, a live link. Streaming video. The little boy, sleeping in a hotel room. I was on a flight to Morocco within hours. No cops. No Carly. Just me and the weight of everything I'd lost. As the plane sliced through the sky, I watched that live stream on repeat. The little boy, Jordan's son, sleeping in a hotel bed with a stuffed lion clutched tight. Innocent. Completely unaware of the chaos tied to his existence. The only clue I had was the room itself. Faded wallpaper, distinct tile pattern, a rusted iron balcony. I sent screenshots to a few contacts I had in the music world, people who'd toured or filmed in Morocco. An old producer friend texted me back. That's the El Noor Hotel, just outside the Medina. Used to be a movie set in the 70s. I landed, booked a car, and drove straight there. The hotel looked abandoned from the outside, but the power was on. Inside, it was nearly empty. Deserted halls. Echoes. I asked the clerk about a guest named Elena Gray. No one by that name. But as I turned to leave, I saw the lion, the stuffed lion from the live stream, sitting on a windowsill at the end of the hall. She wanted me to find her. Room 214. I knocked. Silence. Then the door opened. And there she was. Emily. Different hair. Thinner. Paler. But the same eyes. She looked me over like she was expecting someone else. You came alone? She asked. You asked me to. She stepped aside. I entered slowly. The boy was asleep in the corner of the room. She nodded toward him. His name is James. He doesn't know what I've done. Or who you are. I kept my voice calm. Why did you bring me here? She sat on the edge of the bed, folding her hands like a woman already confessing to her sins. Because I need you to take him. What? I'm done, brother. I didn't speak. I thought revenge would fix it. That if I made you feel what I felt, it would undo the damage. But it didn't. I'm still broken. And now he's the only thing that matters. She stood, walked to her bag, pulled out a thick envelope. His birth certificate, passport, legal guardianship, all signed. Yours. I stepped back. You really think I'm just going to raise your son? After all this? She looked me dead in the eyes. He's not my son anymore. Not after what I did. But you still believe in something. Even after everything. Then she lifted her shirt, revealing bruises. Fresh bruises. Someone's coming for both of us, she whispered. I took money from the wrong people to stage Jordan's death. Then I ran. Now they want him, James, as leverage. I felt the air leave my lungs. Emily wasn't running from me. She was running from someone worse. Then we heard it. Gunshots. Cliffhanger. The hallway exploded with shouts. Emily shoved the boy toward me, screaming, "Run." As I grabbed James, she turned and fired. Straight into the doorway. Blood sprayed. Someone fell. And Emily was gone. I ran, carrying James, barefoot through the smoke-filled hallway, past the man Emily had just shot, one of the men chasing her. His body twitched once, then stilled. Behind me, more shouts, more gunfire. I didn't look back. Down the stairwell, through the crumbling lobby, out into the blistering Casablanca heat. I flagged down the first taxi I saw and screamed, "Airport." James clung to me silently, not crying, not asking questions, just watching, absorbing. At the terminal, I found a secluded spot and called Carly using a burner SIM I'd picked up on the way. She answered on the first ring, breathless. "You're alive. Where's Emily?" "She's gone," I said. "You mean?" "No, not like that." I paused. She disappeared into the chaos, took down one of the guys who came for her, then vanished. Again. "She left the boy with you?" "She made me take him. Said he was safer with me." Carly was quiet. "Then, she's not wrong." I boarded the next flight back to the States under a fake name. James asleep across my lap. The envelope of documents Emily had left clutched to my chest. 3 weeks later, back home, the dust started to settle. Emily Rhodes was officially declared wanted internationally for fraud, identity theft, and suspicion in 2 deaths. The second will? Invalidated. The court ruled in my favor based on the audio recordings, forged documents, and her criminal status. I kept the estate, but that wasn't the victory it used to feel like. Jordan's body was buried properly. His sister came to the funeral. She cried when she met James and promised to stay in his life. Carly and I? We started over. Quietly, carefully. But every time I looked at James, I saw a version of myself, abandoned, betrayed, but still standing. I didn't tell him everything, not yet. He knows his mother had to go away. He knows his father is gone. But someday, I'll tell him the truth. All of it. Because no matter how dark things get, he deserves to know who he is. Last week, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside, a photo, a new passport, and a note in handwriting I hadn't seen in a month. He looks happy. That's all I ever wanted. You did what I couldn't. Thank you. E. On the back of the photo, Emily, sitting in a cafe, holding a newspaper. The date? Yesterday. She's alive. She's still out there. And somehow, I think she always will be.